Hey, it's the preacher, and we're back in the kitchen again. You say, well, preacher, it seems like all you're doing is cooking. Well, you're pretty much right. It's that time of the year. It's almost Christmas. This is the Friday before Christmas, so I think it's like the 20th maybe? Yeah, today's the 20th. So what I try to do is I try to buy gifts for people, you know, just like you would typically do, but I also try to make gifts. And so last year I gave out possum salt to a lot of my friends, and I got the idea off Ozark Spirit. He makes his shaky seasoning. I had a bunch of dried peppers and stuff I'd already ground up. I thought, hey, I got enough stuff to make my own, so I got little bottles and labeled them and made possum salt and gave it away. This year I gave away some jelly and salsa and cowboy candy and chow chow. And another thing I really like, and nobody around here, I don't really know anybody that makes it. I like getting Chex Mix. Not the kind in the bag, but the kind you make at home. Like this back here. And I really like it. And the problem is, if I make it, I eat a bunch of it. So I've waited till the 20th. What I'm going to do is show you how I make Chex Mix. And I'll show you kind of some ratios that I use, and then I'll let you adjust it and adapt it to your own flavor and taste. That's the good thing about making it yourself. Much like the ranch dressing video or the El Salvadorian curtido, you can increase or decrease whatever seasoning you like or don't like. So in this container right here, I have 3 cups of corn Chex mix, corn Chex cereal. I have 4 cups of wheat Chex. The reason I did 4 is because I like it more and I like the corn. I would have had rice Chex, but they didn't have any, so you need some kind of a cracker or bagel chips. Sometimes you'll see those brown, dark brown bagel chips. They didn't have bagel chips either. So I got another hard cracker. This is a pita bread cracker, and it's just flavored with sea salt and olive oil. So this is a very neutral flavored cracker. I took those and broke them. They were pretty big, like a Dorito size, and I broke them into smaller bite-sized pieces. You'll see some in here like that. Then you're going to need to add pretzels. And so I did 3 of the corn, 2 of the wheat Chex. Then I did 1 cup of these broken. I did 1 cup of twisted pretzels. And then I just grabbed a handful of sticks. And when I say a handful, probably another ½ cup of sticks. And that just kind of mixes it up. Then the recipes all call for mixed nuts or peanuts. And every time I've ever gotten Chex Mix, the last thing at the bottom of it is always a bunch of peanuts. So I thought, I'm not going to go just peanuts. So I did a cup of mixed nuts, and I use nuts that I like. So I started out with dry roasted peanuts. I put a handful of them in a 1 cup measuring cup. Then I added some almonds. These are whole almonds. So I've got almonds and peanuts, and I love pecans. And I had some pecan halves, so I broke them up and topped off the cup. So my cup of mixed nuts is a mixture of almonds, pecans, and then some peanuts. Okay, that's all the dry goods we've got in here. Now to that we need to add our liquids. And I like to add the spices into the liquids. So the next thing you'll need are 6 tablespoons of butter melted. To that, I want to add 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. There again, this also is to taste. And 2 tablespoons is not going to overwhelm you. This is pretty much, if you're average on the Worcestershire sauce, you don't want a whole bunch of it. 2 is a good place to start, and then adjust from there on your second batch. So, there's 2. What a happy accident. I got a little Worcestershire on me. We're just going to swirl that around. I'm going to put it back in the oven until that butter finishes melting. To that, I'm going to add, I don't know how much paprika. I just add a little bit. And mainly, paprika is not giving you a lot of flavor. But what it's giving you is color, and it will give you a much redder, deeper taste. Not deeper taste, but a deeper look. To that I'm going to add 3/4 of a teaspoon of granulated garlic. So this is a half teaspoon. I'm just going to kind of round it. That's 3/4 to me. There we go. That's granulated garlic, 3/4 of a tablespoon. To that we're going to add 1/2 of a tablespoon of onion powder. Alright. 1/2 of a tablespoon of onion powder. Then, any really good seasoned salt. If you don't have possum salt, I recommend Lowry's. That's what we use around here. This is really the last possum salt I have. This calls for a teaspoon and a half of seasoned salt. So there's a half, 1, 1.5. And you say, well, that's not a lot of salt. Well, you've got salt on your pretzels and you've got salt on your peanuts probably, or mixed nuts, whatever you used. So, teaspoon and a half, half a teaspoon of onion powder, 3/4 of a teaspoon garlic powder, and then I just shook some paprika in there. Now here is the magic secret ingredient. Okay, little disclaimer for you. I don't know anything about the TV show Trailer Park Boys. I'd also be willing to bet it's probably not something that a preacher should be watching. I know it's probably funny because I've seen that dude in the middle on a bunch of memes, and I love good memes, and that guy with the big glasses. So I know people are probably familiar with them. I'm just not familiar with them. But the Coney Island Saucery reached out to me and said, hey, would you like to have a bottle of Trailer Park Boys hot sauce for your channel? And man, I said, sure, I'm a sucker for hot sauce, and I'm going to be real honest with you. This is something I want you to know. I expected this to be bad. Every time I've tried something that had some famous name attached to it, it was always bad. And I don't know how famous the Trailer Park Boys show is, but I tried the Larry the Cable Guy food when that came out. You know, the Get Her Done, macaroni and cheese, and it was nasty. Everything I tried was nasty. And that's typically the case. If you go into Bass Pro Shops and you buy some of that name brand stuff with some deer hunting or fisherman personality on it, it's always bad. But I opened this up, and it's like no other hot sauce I've had. So, it's hard to describe. I read the back. It said a decent, I guess this is kind of a catchphrase off the show, everything's decent. A decent hot sauce is a Louisiana-style, garlic-forward hot sauce with a silky texture and the right amount of heat. And that's it. It's the silky texture. I thought, well, this is just going to be like Tabasco sauce or Louisiana hot sauce, or, you know, it kind of has that red color, but it's not. It's garlicky. The heat is not Tabasco peppers, it's cayenne peppers. And it coats your mouth. It's got like oil emulsified in it, and it is silky smooth. And I'm going to be honest with you, I like it. I like it a lot. So what I'm going to do is give a generous amount there. It's more like the consistency of a buffalo wing sauce, but without that real wangy blue cheese kick at the end. It's not vinegary, it's smooth and garlicky. Anyways, I like it. I probably put a tablespoon in there. So here's what I'm going to do. I've got this big hunk of butter that still ain't melted. I'm going to stick this back in the oven and let it heat up, and I'm going to let all these flavors mix, and then when we come back we'll pour them in there and give them a good stir. Okay, there's what you end up with. You can tell there's a lot of spices kind of settling in here. The reason I don't do this in a saucepan is I would never get all that seasoning out. So I do it in one of the baking pans that I'm going to bake this in when I get done mixing it. That gives you a look, kind of what you're looking at with the hot sauce in it. Here's all of our dry ingredients. I'm going to kind of shake all this down. You can never seem to get it all out. Never. It's like the stickiest stuff you've ever seen in your life. You could stick your hands in there and I wouldn't fault you. You could put the lid on it and shake it, but most of this, or not most of it, some of it would stick to the lid. You'd never get it back on there. So this is what I do. I put it in a bowl big enough so that I can really get in here and turn it around. And I just mix. And I mix until everything starts looking shiny and I'm not seeing any real dry pieces. Alright, now what I want to do is split this batch in between two of these aluminum foil pans. And there's a, let's see what we're dealing with. Oh man, that's good. Let me wash the slobber off my hands. So, that's probably more like 2 tablespoons of Trailer Park Boys hot sauce. And that gives this, it's not hot, it's not like, oh man, that's burning my mouth. But you get a little bit of garlic, you get a little bit more garlic. We put some granular in, you get a little bit more garlic and a little bit of heat. So that's good. All right, now what I do is I split this between 2 of these foil pans. You could put them on a cookie sheet like this, but you're going to have to stir them. And it's hard to get them mixed up without them flipping over the edge. So what I prefer to do is use an aluminum pan with some sides to it. You don't want them packed in tall. You want them to be able to spread out, but every 15 minutes we're going to stir these. So, I'll tell you what, that one looks a little fuller, so. Preacher tries to treat every pan the same. I've always tried to be fair and treat everybody equal. So you see some oil, butter, hot sauce, some of it stuck. You can't help that. If you try to stir it all in here, you end up trying to mix or split the sauce in between the 2 batches. You never seem to get it right. So what I do is just mix it in one bowl, sacrifice what's on this, and then go to the pans. The oven is set at 250. I'll give you a look at what they look like now before they go in. We're going to put them in there for 1 hour. We're going to set the timer for 15 minutes. Every 15 minutes, you're just simply going to pull them out and do this. Take what's on the bottom, flip it over on the top, spread them around. It'll kind of want to clump up. That butter will kind of want to bond some of it together. So you're just going to go through there and bust it up, move it around. Once you get it kind of where you want it, you set this down, you give it a little shake. You give it a little shake and get it where you want it, and then put them in the oven. Now, I won't have to show you that every 15 minutes, so man, we're in for something. I'm not saying it's the best hot sauce I've ever had. I'm saying it's a very, very good hot sauce. Okay, I hear you. Just put you right there. Set you right there. When you get these out and stir them, they're a little clumpy. They want to stick together. But you hear how loud that sounds? I'm sure you can hear it. That's because all of the moisture has been evaporated off and they're back to crunchy. When we put them in there, they were a little soggy. But now they're crunchy. So once you get them mixed up, kind of broke loose from the bottom, we're just going to spread them out on a towel. to cool down and soak up any grease that's still dripping on them. That's the second batch I've made in those pans, so I'd recommend if you're going to make more, save the pans. Any flavor that didn't adhere to these might stick to the next batch. I'm just spreading them out in a thin layer. They're pretty well dried out. They've cooked for an hour, every 15 minutes. I came in and stirred them around. You just want to spread them out where they dry and they don't steam each other or nothing like that. So, there you go. Now, what you'll do with these is let them cool down. When they get completely cool, there's no more heat. If you put them in a Ziploc baggie or a sealable container now, there would still maybe some moisture coming off and they would get kind of soggy. They're crispy. And man, I'm telling you what, I ain't just saying it. That Trailer Park Boys hot sauce is good stuff. I really can't liken it to anything else, so what I would recommend is go to Coney Island Saucery. Here, they sent me a little sticker. What I recommend, if you want to make this spicy, add this. I put about, I'm going to say 2 tablespoons in there. It's not hot. You can taste a little cayenne. The garlic is more pronounced than that first batch I did. If you want to make it real hot, I would say I would go with like 3 or 4. And it's not going to kill you. I put cayenne pepper in it, but that gives it a really good kind of a garlicky, peppery flavor. Of the 2 batches that I made, the first was mild. This was kind of a little more spicy. This is far and away my favorite. So, give it a try. Anything in here you don't like, you can add something else. I just recommend whatever cracker you put in here. Get a hearty cracker. Ritz may tend to soak up too much. You want something that's pretty stiff, pretty crisp to start with. Otherwise, it may crumble and fall apart, or it may soak up all of your sauce. That's really good. Anyways, I don't want to make you sit here and watch me eat. Thanks for watching. I hope you try this yourself. If you do it different, maybe you add Cheerios, maybe you add something else. Tell me in the comments what you put in your Chex Mix, and tell me what I did wrong if you don't like it the way I do it. Anyways, man, a garlicky, spicy pecan. I may just roast a pan of those next. That's amazing. Let's try an almond. Alright, I may do a Trailer Park Boys hot sauce roasted nuts. That's probably something they'd put on their show. Alright, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Thanks to Coney Island Saucery for Trailer Park Boys. A decent hot sauce. Maybe that's how they say it. Anyways, it's very good. Go there and get yours. And enjoy the holidays. Merry Christmas.